Hey everyone, my name is Rochelle and I am new to podcasting. This is going to be my first episode ever. And what I want to do is talk about depression and how I personally went into a depression that in 2008 is when it started. So from now, 2020, I still have depression, anxiety, and my doctor says that it's PTSD. Um, but all I know is that I fight with mood swings. I'm depressed, anxious all the time. It seems like it's like I just am waiting for something to happen, and it's just really strange. So I've been fighting with that for years, and so I wanted to talk about what I went through. And I first dealt with depression when it was time to get a tumor removed. I had an ovarian cyst on the left side that was ginormous. It was so big. It was ridiculous. I was out there trying to lose weight and running and taking the dogs on walks and stuff, trying to lose weight. I started to lose weight, but in my stomach area it was still real swollen. So it kind of looked like I was pregnant, which, I was like, nah, I'm not pregnant. That can't be it. So it has to be something else. So I decided to make an appointment, just a regular checkup to my doctor, and tell her about the swelling and see what she would possibly think it could be. So I went to the doctor and she did the regular checkup. Everything was fine. And then I asked her about the swelling in my stomach. I said, I'm working out, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but this stomach area is swollen and it won't go away. And so she laid me down and she started feeling on around by my liver, my stomach, all that. And she said, oh, there you do have a little bit of swelling. And she's like, I think it might be the liver, but let's do tests first and we'll go from there. So she set me up a referral and I went to the hospital to get the testing that she wanted me to get. And, then it would go back to her and she would contact me to know if I need to go into the, if I need to go in to see the doctor or a specialist. So, I think it was 2 days later, it came back and she said, well, you're going to have to go see an oncologist because it looks like you have a tumor on your ovaries. And I was like, what? How did that happen? Was trying to figure out what I did to get it. And I was just like, wow, it kind of threw me for a loop. So, instead of going to the doctor, I went and kind of closed myself off. I was so scared. She told me I'd probably have to have surgery to have it removed. It was too big to break it up. So I just went into a depression. I just stayed in the house. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't go out. I didn't go to my doctor like I was supposed to. I just messed everything all up. So I went into hiding for a little while. The doctor kept calling me. The oncologist kept calling me, trying to get me to set up my appointment to come in for pre-lab workup for surgery. And I wasn't returning phone calls to them. I didn't go in like I was supposed to go. I'd make an appointment to go in and then I'd freak out and not go. And they were trying to get a hold of me for a while. It was probably like over a month. And I was so depressed. I just stayed in my room. Wasn't really functioning like I should have been because I was just scared. period. That's what it was. So I got really, really depressed. I felt like I was going to die. I felt like I wasn't going to get a cure. I wasn't going to get this out and it'd be done, gone, no worries. And then finally, I had to go in. I was in so much pain. It was like, I just can't even explain it. It hurt really bad. And painkillers did not work at all. And I've tried a few. So I ended up having to make an appointment to go in. They saw me the next day. And then, he told me I did have to go get surgery and they would set me up and for surgery the next day. So I got all my blood work done and x-rays and all, the usual stuff. I got all that done and surgery was next day. So my mom, I had talked to her and she said she'd come down. So she came down like the same day. And I told her I'm going to be, needing her help for at least 8 weeks. The doctor said I'd be about 8 weeks, on my back to heal up from the surgery. So she came down to help me with the kids and just to take care of the house and, be there for me. So she showed up and we talked a little bit. And my mom's a God-fearing woman, so she prayed a lot with me. She went over different things in the Bible, stuff to soothe my worried mind because I was so depressed and I was very, very anxious. I was like, at times I couldn't even breathe. And then other times I just didn't want to see anybody, which is very rare because, I love my kids and I spent time with them. But when I found out I had that, I was just scared and I didn't want to leave them. I cried a lot. I just thought for sure I was going to die and not, be there for them. But the next day we go in, it's real early. It was like 6 a.m. And the doctor stated the surgery would be 2 hours, right? So, my mom's like, 2 hours, you'll go to sleep. Then the next thing you know, you wake up and it's over and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, trying to get geared up for it, but it didn't work. And so I was in pre-op and they weren't allowed. My husband wasn't allowed back there. Neither was my mother. They had said their goodbyes when, before I went back. And I just felt like that was goodbye, like forever, because of the way it went down, transpired. But they said, goodbye, good luck. We're praying, we'll be here for you when you wake up. And so I went back there. I was a nervous wreck. I was shaking and I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was just so much anxiety that I had going on there. So then I laid down, they checked my vitals and stuff like that. And she said, wow, your heart's really, really racing. You're going to have to calm down. And I was just like crying and I didn't know how I was going to calm down because she said I need to calm down. And she said, well, we're going to give you some medication to calm you down before surgery. Psh, please, that did not work. They had given me 2 doses because the first one wasn't working. So then they gave me 2. And guess what? The second one didn't work. So I was emotional wreck. I was screaming and hollering and asking for my mom and asking for, anybody I can get. My husband, anybody, kids. But they let my mother back there. And then she came and she sat down and she said, are you all right? It's going to be okay. And God's looking after you. And he's going to make sure you come out of this and everything. And I just couldn't stop crying and, losing my breath. And so then she had her Bible on her because she read that the whole time. She told me afterwards. And so she sat down and she told me a few verses. read me a few verses, and then she started praying. And then the nurses that were around started praying as well. They all held hands and looked down and was praying over me. And I was just like a hot mess. And they started praying, and she was praying. And I mean, she went to town. She was talking to God. I don't care what nobody else says. She was having a conversation. And then after she finished, it's like I felt calm. And I don't know if it was just her being back there with me, the medication, or the prayers. I think it was all pretty much all of it. And then she hugged me, kissed me, and went back out into the waiting room. And so I got a little calm, and then they wheeled me back to the surgery room, and they started, getting me ready and everything, and they were talking to me, and the medical students that were there, start asking me about my kids and how many I had and what were their names. I got to the third kid, and that was all she wrote. I was gone. And so when I woke up, because I don't know what all happened during surgery, but when I woke up, I was kind of groggy and everything like that. And I looked up and I asked for my husband and the kids. And then I passed back out. And then when I woke up, I asked for my mom. And then she was on her way in the door when I glanced, and they were all there. So then I closed my eyes again. Then I woke back up, and everybody was in there. And they were all telling me how good I did and how it went so well. And then I was gone again. And then I woke up for a little bit more. My doctor came in to see how I was doing. And he told me that he did get it all. And I found out that my surgery was 4.5 hours. He told me it would be 2 hours. He said it was so long because he couldn't get it out. He was going to make a small incision near the belly button. Well, he had to go all the way up just under the breastbone. He had to go all the way up and then come all the way down to like the very end of the belly button area. Worse than a C-section, I swear, because a C-section I had was a tiny scar compared to what I had to have done. And if I would have known that my surgery was going to be 4 hours long, I'd have really flipped. It was really hard for me to grasp 2 hours. Now, if he would have said 4, I probably would have never even showed up to surgery, because that would have just scared the heck out of me. But he said everything was good. He told me everything that he removed. And he did tell me I'd be down for about 8 weeks, not able to do anything but bathroom and then back to bed, for a while, because it was such a big incision. And I felt like I was a hot mess. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what the end of it would be. I was just in so much pain, and they had me on morphine with the little button where you press it when you start to feel pain. But the funny thing is, well, it's not funny, but the thing is that you press it, okay, then it helps you. And then shortly thereafter, you're in pain again. But you just pressed the button, so it won't give you another dose of medicine. So you're basically going crazy because you feel the pain, but you can't give yourself more morphine. So you have to call your nurse to give you something else on top of that. So the nurses were back and forth. And I was like, why am I itching? Every time I pushed the button for morphine, I would start itching like a mad woman. comes to find out I was allergic to morphine, and I had to be on morphine for the first day. The doctor told me that. So I'm on morphine, and every time I pushed the button for morphine, I'd start itching. And so the nurse said, well, we're going to have to chase it with Benadryl. So when you get you take a dose of your morphine, we'll chase it with Benadryl. I mean, I had to do it because the morphine helped my pain, but then I was scratching like a maniac, and then that was just worse. So she'd come in, give me Benadryl, and it'd be all good again, till the next time. So we went through that. A counselor came in and talked to me because I was dealing with a lot of depression before all of this happened. And so we talked a bit, and it was nice to try to gain, some light into what was actually going on with me. So it was nice for that. And then the kids kind of rotated. The little ones were there when my husband was there because they were little, at 3 and 4. And the other ones are bigger teenagers and preteens, stuff like that. And so then they'd rotate. And I was doing a lot of sleeping. I think it was the morphine. So I'd go to sleep, wake up a couple hours, there'd be another child in there and sitting with me, worried, just sitting there, sleeping or whatever. And they would rotate. Every time I woke up, there was a new kid there, which was great because they were there for me, and, they were scared themselves, and it was just crazy. But what I had, I appreciated, I should say, them being there by my side. I felt like I was pretty worthless mother at that point because I was so worried about, trying to get rid of that tumor. And I just felt like, I wasn't giving them the care that they needed because I was so, mentally, I would say, unstable. But it all worked out. And so I'm going to leave you here with that. And what I'll do is I'll continue, because there's many episodes that are going to come after that about what I went through, what I went through when I tried to heal, and then what happened after I healed somewhat, and, going back again for a tumor a second time, going back a third time. So it's really, really going to be fairly long. It'll be split into a few episodes so you guys can listen. So make sure you listen to my next few episodes, and I hope you enjoy them all, and I hope that someone actually can get what they need out of this episode and this podcast, and it may help somebody. You just never know. But I will record a new one, and I hope you enjoy this one. And thank you so much for listening. This is Rochelle, and I will talk to you soon.